Okay, this is Em. Been working with her about 3 weeks, I think. She spends a lot of time like this. That's what I call bar breaking. That's what makes a horse gentle. I know you've heard it 1,000 times, but hanging a horse is worth $1 million. Okay. Now it's important that a horse picks you up off the fence or whatever it is you want to have him pick you up off of. And it's just another thing that may be to your benefit for whatever reason. My friend Bob Snyder kind of saved his neck up in Wyoming because he got hurt riding a dink. And he had a good horse that could actually pick him up anywhere. And he used it to pick him up off a rock so he could keep working on the roundup. So that alone, it was worth teaching a horse how to do that. Bob's 80 something, I think. He don't buy green bananas anymore because he never knows. He's been cowboying since he was probably 8 years old, knows more than any of us ever will. But anyway, kind of nice for him to have a horse that he could pick him up off of something, and he enjoyed that, having that opportunity. So it's worth teaching them. Once again, I ride colts in a halter and horses that come in that are troubled so that I don't pull on their mouth. And if like this horse is going to go to the bridle, we need to set it up for a Bosal. So I don't want to ruin that nice spot on the horse's skull for the Bosal by yarding it around like a plow horse. I want to get all that taken care of before I put the Bosal on. Now in the old days they had the big heavy Bosals and the Theodore knots and all that. It was a different thing. It wasn't done the way we do things now. Now we've evolved into this, which I think works pretty good. So I can shut this horse down. I've got that going on, and when I disengage her, I just bump and release. That's the safety net part, so that if anything happens, you can always shut the horse down. The old school calls it doubling. New school calls it a one-rein stop. And I think the part to remember is that some people learn it by, you go to your pocket and hold it. Well, I've found that I personally believe that it's better to bump and release. Keep bringing their head around, but just bump and let go, and you'll get your horse more supple in the lateral work to start off with. Now remember, this is a young horse that's had about 3 weeks on it. So the things I need to get done for a foundation before the Bosal, I'm going to show you. One of them is disengaging the hindquarter, which is different than a one-rein stop or doubling. Stopping, backing, and the forehand. So once I've got those, then I can move on to the logs. So the hindquarter I lift and disengage the hindquarter. I lift my inside hand and disengage the hindquarter. That's part of it. Once you can get a horse's, you notice I'm not bending the head all the way around like doubling, so I'm just moving the hindquarter over. That's all I want to do. This is a big part that's skipped on a lot of horses now, is everybody thinks it's all about the front end. Well, unless you have this hindquarter, you're not going to get anything done. Now the forehand, that means the front end's going to walk around the back end. As you can see, this horse has a lot of life in it. You don't have to pedal her. That's worth $1 million. So now to bring the front end around the back end, I'm going to bump with my right hand for a right hand turn. My inside leg is pushing the rib out if I need it, and I'm just trying to get the horse close to round. I'm not going to get perfection, that'll come later. Once I get that, then I can set up to turn, which means I'm going to open my right shoulder, slightly pull back with my left hand to shift the weight and bring the front end around. My outside leg brings the front end across. That's the start. As you can tell on colts, you've got their mind about 10% of the time, no matter how handy you think you are. Now the left turn, start to get her round. There she's round. My right hand will shift the weight to the back, and she comes across in the front end. It's not going to get perfect. What it's going to get is that the horse will have the concept of what you want. Then you can fine-tune it over time. Now we'll get the stop and the backup. I alternate hands. I lift straight up with one hand to stop a horse. The backup, my hands are low, left, right, sitting up on my seat bones, leaning back. Get the impulsion started, then just keep giving it back. I'm not going to hang on this horse. If I did, I would ruin it. Now, for those of you that want to talk about collection or self-carriage, this is where it starts, right here. If you watch, this colt's going to she's going to put herself in a frame. Right there. Whether she knows it or not, she's tucking her nose down and in, and I get to use that for the backup. Plus I keep putting the rein back to her and she's carrying herself. So you'll also notice that everything's been done at a walk. Well, I can do it at a trot, parts of it, but I don't lope circles on a horse like this. When I'm riding outside, I walk, trot, and lope the horses. I pick my battles. In other words, a nice long sloping uphill run, I'll let a horse lope. When it's done loping, I just kind of raise my hand and they slow down. She doesn't have any runoff in her. She doesn't have any buck in her. If she was a runaway, as soon as I felt it starting to come on, I would just double her. Well, I did that when I first rode her, so she understands how to shut down and she's not troubled where she feels like she has to run away. Now, all horses spook. That's part of life with a horse. It's a prey animal. So what you need to do is know it's coming, which they'll give you plenty of warning by their ears, their skull, their breathing, their tenseness, their feet, everything in the world. Another horse that's with them will tell you that it's going to spook, and the other one says, okay, I'm ready to spook when you are. The human's job is to be ready for both of it. So as the problem approaches, you're ready to shut the horse down. That's what keeps them from running off. They're going to spook. It's just part of it. And after a while, they figure out spooking isn't hardly worth it. So, now she understands and she listens to my body. We have a rapport going, or started. Remember about that perfection thing. Work on it over years, not over days. Make it last. Take your time. Make sure the horse is clear on it. Keep honing your skills. Every ride you have, when you come back, it was a better ride than the last one, is the idea. That's all wonderful in theory, but I'm just telling you that over time is what you can make a horse. I mean years, not months, not days. Now, this horse has been taught through groundwork about the logs, so it's not like it's brand new. It doesn't have a fear of them. It understands where they are, what they mean. The idea of the logs is to help the human out with their timing and to get a horse understanding what you're asking. It helps them. Later on, you don't need the logs. But starting off, it's a pretty good visual for a horse and a human. And the physical contact of the feet against the logs wakes the horse up enough to pay attention where they're putting their feet. So I'm going to start off by going that way, side passing. This is the first phase of riding a horse on the logs. Later on she'll do front end, rear end. I might even test it today, but the idea is to get this horse to move off your body And so it tells you that it's listening to your body. I'll lean over the dash, move my leg back, that moves the hindquarter over. It's real important, if there's any way that I can not use my hands, is now's the time I don't want to use my hands. When I need them, I bump. Into pressure. This is what colts do. Into pressure. So my left leg stays on. My left leg stays on. My left leg stays on. And the horse makes it. This is what colts do. Hindquarter, side pass. Side pass, hindquarter, side pass. Hindquarter over, side pass. Side pass, hindquarter over, side pass. And what I'm trying to get guaranteed for the both of us is that yes, you're listening to my seat and my leg. I'm trying to do as little as I possibly can with my hands. That's the indicator of a horse telling you, yeah, I can probably handle a hackamore. Now, if I put this horse in the Bosal, then it all falls apart. I'm not going to tune on the horse heavy-handed in a Bosal. If I have to tune the horse up again, I just go back to the hackamore. It's not like you've broken the law. Go back to the halter, I mean. So you can go up and down forever if you need to. By the time you get him in the bridle, that's all over. That'll be 3 or 4 years from now. Right seat bone is down. I'm looking where I'm going. I'm leaning over the dash to ask the hindquarter to move over. I'm trying to be as quiet as I can with my hands. Yeah, I want to stop all forward. I want the horse to stay centered on the logs. Into pressure. Not a good idea. Hindquarter. Side passing. There's always slack in my reins whenever I can do it. I don't know if you can see it, but I keep giving it back. Now, this horse understands, there's no doubt in her mind how to do this. Now, once again, this is a visual for a horse and a human. It helps them to understand rear end, front end, forward, backwards, side passing. All gets taken care of right here in this little circle. I'm going to be doing it outside on leg yields when I'm out making a circle. Now I can just put my leg on her and she'll move away from around a mesquite or a yucca or whatever I'm going around. And this helps them understand it a lot quicker. So there again, it's been 3 weeks. I'm going to put the Bosal on this horse. It'll be a 5/8 Bosal. Thank you.